Hey, it's Barry here with Hooked on Headwaters. Thanks for checking out this video, and as always, if you get a chance, hit the subscribe, notification bell, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you want to do, and add a comment. And we appreciate all the comments that folks have been leaving. If you have any questions whatsoever about the lake, don't hesitate to go ahead and ask those questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. Or, we've got some great folks that follow along with us on our channel that have jumped in and answered some questions as well, and we appreciate that. So with that being said, in today's video, we're going to go ahead and break down a section of the lake. We've been talking about doing that, and it is time to do that since we have now covered the S Canal here. So check out on our channel the other videos. So if you're not familiar with the lake yet, we started with the ramp. We've talked about S Canal, East-West Canal, 45 down here. So now that we've covered pretty much the pathways to get around to different areas, we're going to go ahead and start breaking this lake down into bite-sized pieces. And the area that we're going to talk about today is a very easy area to fish. It holds fish. The winds don't really seem to mess it up too bad. If it's windy, it's still fishable, and it's just a great place to go if you've got kids, you got family coming in from out of town, or you're coming in from out of town and you want to get onto some fish. This is just one of many areas in this lake to fish, but it definitely produces some really nice fish. Small to large, dinks to over 10 pounders. So the area we're talking about today is going to be right in this area right here. And again, this is just one small section of a fantastic fishery. But we had to start somewhere, so we want to do something that's fairly close and easy to get to from the ramp. It's pretty much a straight shot down, and then you're going to hook off to the west, and then you're going to make a straight shot down. So real easy to get to, and good numbers of fish holding in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here, and let's take a look at why this is a good area as far as the way that Dave and I see this when we're out fishing these different areas. Now we have is little sawgrass islands, I'm going to call them. You can see a whole row of them here. You're going to see another group row of them across here. We're running about, this is kind of a big flat area all through here. Going to run about 3.5 to 5 foot deep along here. The same depth in between these two runs, you're going to find at 3.5 to 5 foot all through here. And in between here, you're going to see in between every single one of these, you're going to see that it drops off 10, 12, 14 feet. Okay. Every one of them has a drop off. So these deeper areas are going to hold some fish, but I'm going to tell you that this is Dave and I personally, and I'm out this weekend with some family. The way we fished it and found fish wasn't in these deep areas. Now there's some guys out there that may say, hey man, there's a ton of them in these deep, you need to fish these. But I'm going to just talk to you about what Dave and I have found to work really well, and what's been consistent on multiple trips. Okay, so I'm going to zoom this in. I'm going to get out my little pen tool here and show you where I'm finding the fish at. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. Okay. Where I like to target is on these, you call them a point, call them whatever you want, okay? But these areas, like right here, do very well because you've got deep water in here, okay? This is where it drops off. I'm just going to put 12 feet, but it runs 12 to, I'm going to put 12 to 14. And a little shallower than that some places, okay? But it drops off here. So any of these spots right here, these all seem to be very good for holding fish. But you will find them if you go ahead and pitch up along here, the whole bank. Go ahead and hit this whole area here, okay? But you'll find right on these points right here, here's another, I'm calling them points, but it's kind of on these corners that lead into where it drops off, okay? You can find them out here as well. So what I recommend, I'm going to go ahead and clear this now. What I recommend is to go ahead and do two ways of fishing this area, okay? You can either come in here, drop your trolling motor, right, and just stay on the outside and just work it slow. Pitch up against there like I showed you with arrows. Pitch up against, keep moving. Any little sawgrass patches that are out in the open, hit those as well. Fish are holding on them, and just kind of work a straight line across here, just banging on these outside kind of edges and points. Or you can come through and do the zigzag method and just kind of work your way in and just kind of in and out, in and out, in and out. Okay. I have now where I've not found any real good fish is inside, in between, up against the banks, okay, and drawn into this deeper waters. They just don't, for me now, don't seem to hold here nearly as well as they're holding out here on these where I showed you. Okay, so that's pretty simple area to fish. Holds a lot of fish. You've got combination of these shallow flat areas that are holding fish as well. As it gets a little warmer, they'll come out and then be out in this area. So definitely cast out all around. Just kind of, if you're sitting here, just kind of fan cast out and around, and then work in on these points here and corners. And then if you want to work the deeps, you know, drop offs, work them as well. But again, it's a really nice, easy place to fish. And the numbers are good, and the sizes are good as well. You're going to get everything from little ones all the way up to big. And we'll talk about the different saw plastics that Dave and I like to fish with in this area here in just a couple minutes. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take it to the lake with Dave and myself. So we'll see you out there right now. Okay, here we are on the lake. Barry and
Dave.
Coming at you from the section we talked about earlier on the when we're looking at the Google Maps, kind of showed the area that we're in. So now we're out on the water. What we're going to do is, actually, Dave, if you go to the right, you can see this is what we're talking about when we're talking about sawgrass islands, as I'm calling them. And in between these islands, there's a nice drop off on every single one of these. So what we're going to do as far as filming, we're just going to kind of go in and out and kind of do the zigzag around so you get an idea of what it's like. We are at the west end of the section we talked about on the map, and I'll notate that here in the video as well on the screen. And we're going to be heading east, and as we head east, we'll point out those points that I showed you with arrows where we're kind of finding the fish. And we've got this section here, and then there's a section behind us that is all little islands as well. Okay, out there where Dave's pointed now is more of a 3.5 to 5 foot flat. Everything going on in the canal, or in between, as I mentioned, drops 10, 12, 14 feet, comes back up, and then it goes back to 3.5 to 5 feet. So with that, before we get going, I'm going to switch the camera with Dave, because he's going to talk to you a little bit about the couple different types of plastics that we like to use out here that we're done really, really well with. And they're easy lures for your, family, anybody you take along with you to fish. So we'll go ahead and do that now.
Hello everyone, Dave here, and today I want to quickly talk about some of our favorite baits. We've been pretty successful the last few days, and what we've used is, I usually like to start my day out with this fluke tail. They're very popular, come in a bunch of different colors. White seems to work pretty good. Something with a blue top, white bottom also has been working quite well. I normally rig this up one of two ways. I like to use these twist-on lock weedless hooks. So the way it works is there's a little screwy thing, wire lead there. You screw this into the head of the bait. You hook it, you run the hook through the body, and that gives you a nice straight, you want a nice straight profile. This works through the grass really nice, through all the cover, the branch, and all the other stuff that's here in Headwaters Lake. I also rigged this up using a heavy gauge worm hook. This is no weight on this. I usually rig it, using on a calmer day. It just gives a nice, or makes for a very natural presentation with a small twitch on the rod. This bait twitches back and forth. It drops naturally, and it gets that reaction bait. It's worked really, really well. I highly recommend trying both of those methods. And we've also been successful the last few days with our June bug worm. It's about the 6-inch version. We brought some friends and family out this past weekend, and they were pretty successful using the June bug. June bug was the color of the weekend, so we recommend that you try it. And there you have it. Hopefully that'll help some of you. Get on the water, get fishing. Tight lines, everyone. Be well.
All right, we're going to go ahead and cover some of the water here, zigzagging in between some of these little sawgrass islands. And as we're coming up on this, we're going to go ahead and drop down to the depth finder so you can get an idea of how deep some of these little runs and chutes are in between the sawgrass. So as we're moving through this one here, it's a good example. You know, this one's dropping down to 12, 13, 14. Should drop down into a 14-foot range here. Yep, there we go. So plenty deep enough in between them. I think, you know, it's a great place for fish to get down in and you know, find those deeper holes, especially when it's cold. As we have been finding out though, as soon as that temperature tends to come up in the morning and as we get into the early afternoon, now that we're in cooler weather, they're definitely moving up out of there and out into the flat like you see here, where it's about 3.5 to 5 foot deep. One quick little tip where we pick up a lot of them is just simply doing a slow troll. Kick your trolling motor on about slowest speed and troll something behind, and you'll pick a lot of them up. Here's another one we're just kind of running through just so you get an idea of what it looks like as you're going in between these different sawgrass islands. Again, there's 2 rows. And as you remember at the beginning when I showed you from the satellite view how it's laid out. Another big flat area here. Another good place just to slow troll. That's the easiest way to fish, especially if you got kids. Just throw on a little plastic worm, a swim bait, anything. Have it, make sure that it's not running the surface. Don't be trolling so it's skiing, but have it down and just do a real slow troll and you're going to pick them up. Like I said, we pick a lot of them up just simply doing that as we're moving from one side to the other. We're going through another drop off here. You can see it's 11, 10, 9, 8 feet here. And we'll just kind of watch this one play out because, you know, every one of them is just a little bit different in the depth range that they run. But you can see we went from 8, 9, and 10. Now we're back to 11, back to 10, 11, 10. It's going to bounce around back to 9. But I think this is the one that's got a little bit of a hump in it. And it should drop back down here, 11 foot. So, really good place to fish. There's 12 feet. Get running between these two. Really good place to fish. Really good area. Really easy place to fish because you want to catch them like I notated in the other section with the arrows. Some of the good places to go. Here we're out on this flat. You can see it's leveling out 2.743. But great place to fish out there. And don't overlook for a second those little, like right here, the sawgrass run, or a little bit of the trees are in this particular place. The trees, anywhere around the vegetation is sitting out away from these sawgrass runs. Any areas of sawgrass that are sitting out in the water is away from the islands is a good place to find them. I'm not sure if I got it right close here in this part of the video. It's on down a little ways. There's another section that has a little bit more vegetation out away from the islands, and that's a really productive area as well to go ahead and pick them up. Just go ahead and send your worm or soft plastic or whatever it is right up into the reeds up against them and pull out from there, and you should be able to pick up fish. So we're getting on another depth finder run here. We're going to show you some depth here, and we'll go ahead and make this the last one because they basically are all the same, as you'll see here on this last one. Depth wise, here we're coming up on the cut between 2 of them. You can see we're running in the 9-foot range. Now we're coming up in between them here because now it's all of a sudden dropping off again. Went 9, 10, 11, 12 feet, 11 feet. So there you have it. That's pretty much it when it comes to the layout. I've showed it to you on the Google map, so you have a good idea. Actually, you have a great idea on where the area is exactly. We've looked at it, laying it out where you should be targeting, or at least in my opinion, in Dave's opinion, because that's where we find really good numbers of fish. We've looked at this from both the boat view, looking forward like we are now, how it looks, and you've seen it from the depth finder perspective on how things go when you run between them. And we've got one more coming up here, so we'll go ahead and dip down to the depth finder again, just to give you one last look at how things drop on all of them. Like I mentioned before, and we're back to 10, 11 feet on, and in between this particular run, 12 foot, 13 foot. So lots of great places for fish to hold, lots of places for them to move out into shallows, chase bait, whatever it may be. So check this place out. Let us know what you think. Drop a comment down below if you fish this area, or if it'll be a first time fishing it, how you do. Real quick, this is a great little place right there, that sawgrass that's sitting off of the islands. There's some out here you're seeing now, some in front of the screen right as we're passing over. All these little areas are great too, even open water, but if it's got vegetation out there, just go ahead and run something through it. There's a big patch right there to run through, so make sure you do that as well. And thanks again for watching. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, like, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you want to do. We certainly appreciate it, and appreciate all the supports. With that, thanks. Hey, we'll see you in the next video. Check us out on Facebook at bit.ly/Headwaters Lake. Looking for a real fishing adventure in fresh or salt water? Head on over to livingwaterskayaking.com. Captain Dave is the best in pedal kayak guides, guaranteed to put you on the fish. Make Strike Zone Fishing on 192 in Melbourne your go-to fishing headquarters before you hit the lake. They have all the gear, bait, and knowledge you need to get set up to get the big ones. And as always, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We truly appreciate the support. Have a great day. Good fishing always.